Hey guys, this is the first writing lesson. This is number 4 in the writing section of the SAT practice test. And today's lesson is all about apostrophes. Let's start by reading the sentence. Circadian rhythms, which are controlled by the body's biological clocks, influence body temperature, hormone release, cycles of sleep and wakefulness, and other bodily functions. Now take a look at the answer choices. Even if I was going to reread this sentence, they would all sound exactly the same way with every possible answer choice. It's always body's biological clocks, right? So what's the difference? The difference is in the apostrophes, right? This is a question all about apostrophes, when and where to use them. All right, let's get started. We're actually going to start by doing a quick refresh on possessives versus plurals versus plural possessives versus contractions, because these are all the various ways in which you might see an apostrophe. So quick refresh is plurals are multiples, right? Kittens, plural. Possessives shows a sense of belonging. You know, if you're using something to describe something else, that's often being used possessively. So like Hannah's teacher. Hannah doesn't own her teacher, but if you're trying to figure out what teacher you're talking about, it is descriptive to say it's Hannah's teacher. So that's a possessive. Plural possessive is when a group of people or a group of objects or a group in general has a possessive trait about something else. So like the student's teacher, if you're talking about multiple students, maybe it's Hannah and Hannah's friend Jeff and then Jeff's friend Jamie, and now you've got the student's teacher. So that's a plural possessive. And then contractions. Contractions are when you take two words, right, and you squish them together into one word. And you typically use an apostrophe to indicate that you've done that, like cannot becomes can't with an apostrophe between the N and the T. Before we get to the question at hand, we're going to play a quick virtual game. Basically, I'm going to put some words up on the screen here, and you're going to have about 1 second each to decide if that word is being used as a contraction, as a plural, as a possessive, or as a plural possessive. So let's see how you do. Let's go. One of the tips that I heard to figure out if something is a possessive or not is that if you can take the word like bodies and put it after the word that it might be describing, but use the words of the, then you'll know that it's possessive. And if it doesn't sound right, then it's not a possessive. So like for the example from earlier, we said Hannah's teacher. In Hannah's teacher, Hannah is possessive, right? Because you can rephrase that to say the teacher of Hannah, right? In this particular case, let's see if it works. Circadian rhythms, which are controlled by the biological clocks of the bodies, influence body temperature, hormone release, etc. Does that work? I think it does. Circadian rhythms, which are controlled by the biological clocks of the bodies, influence body temperature. Yeah, it definitely works. And that's why we need bodies to be possessive. Now here, you also have to figure out, is this a plural possessive or a singular possessive? Are we talking about one body or multiple bodies? I think this is actually a pretty tough question. So let's hold on to our horses for this one, and we'll come back to this. Let's look at clocks now. So biological clocks. Is this a plural or a possessive or a plural possessive or a contraction? Well, it's definitely not a contraction, right? Because we're just talking about clocks. There's no two words being squished together. Is it a possessive? Is the word clocks being used to own something or to describe something? I don't think so. But it's got an S at the end, right? So it's plural. They're using it in the plural sense, multiple biological clocks. And so here we know that we don't need an apostrophe, right? And that helps us to eliminate two of our answer choices. We can already get rid of B and D. And now we're just down to A and C, right? So we got to figure out, do we want to use bodies like IES? And how are we using bodies if it has an IES? Well, we're using it like just the plural because there's no apostrophe. Or do we want to use bodies as singular body, but possessive? And that's answer choice C. Well, we already said that we know that body is being used as a possessive, right? Because you could say circadian rhythms, which are controlled by the biological clocks of the body. And so because we know it's possessive, we know it can't be no change A. And so the only answer choice left is C, and that's why the answer is C. Let me know if you're still at all confused about apostrophes or plurals or possessives, and I'm happy to help. Good luck. I hope you have a good week. Miss you guys, and take care.